How hard is it to get a world record in a video game? Well, it depends. Are you playing a new video game nobody cares about? Or are you playing the world's most popular video game that's been out for over 15 years? Well, if you want to get a world record in something that's not named Paw Patrol on a roll, even a subcategory of a subcategory might take you years to compete. Minecraft infights before the combat update were a lot different from what you see nowadays, so I will quickly explain the 3 basic things that you need to know about the old dragon. 1. If the dragon takes damage or reaches its target block, it will roll a 1 in 4 to charge the player. And 2, it has no set flight pattern and crystals are randomly placed on the map. So with that, let's get to why I spent 5,000 hours of my life just trying to get a world record in this category. So our story starts back in the Wild West of 2020, with a 17-year-old Chaos still with aspirations of getting a girlfriend, having a social life, but one day he would stumble upon something that would change his life forever. A little video of the greatest 1.7 player of the old generation, a little known player known as RedStcne. We don't have a lot of knowledge on the old Minecraft infight world records, but what we do know is that RedStcne was the grandfather of the modern infight style. He changed everything. The Japanese players of old were a lot more focused on shooting down all the crystals and then bedding down the dragon. But RedStcne correctly thought that shooting the dragon and crystals were much more valuable and effective than just preventing healing. And this simple idea with a few other improvements to the run this legendary strat dev made, he was able to make history not once, but twice. So with that out of the way, let's get into the earliest known history of infight world records and see where that puts us in trying to beat the world record. We are going to start with Boskar's 2 world records of 50.883 and his sub 40 world record. Keep in mind this is not the start of infight world records. Luna and Margot both have claimed infights before this. Both are most likely legitimate, but we're going to start with Boskar. His 2 world records at the time were a big deal. His 50.883 is an impressive time, but the sub 40, at the time it felt like an impossible record to break. Nobody was near him for nearly a year. The sub 40 is still a benchmark to this day for an impressive infight, and Boskar is a legend of infight percent for his runs at that time. Nearly a full year later, on February 19th, 2022, we come to find his pigeon. A cartoon character of a person, but nothing of his 36-second time was anything to laugh at. He beat a world record that stood for nearly a year. Pigeon was known for advancing the infight meta with small innovations and taught a lot of new players how to get better. He made resources to help them improve and practice better. He was known at the time for having great mechanics and his famous rages. So anyways, let's move on to our next player. The greatest infighter of all time. Poso. Poso is like if you combine LeBron and Jordan into one person. The amount of things he's done in the infight is kind of insane if you think about it. He has over 400 sub 40-second infights. Yeah, remember Boskar? This guy's beaten Boskar 400 times. He's the only other person to hold the world record more than once, and he's the only person to ever hold world record more than twice. His streak of world records from April 12th, 2022 to April 13th, 2024 is the stuff of legend. For over 2 years he held world record. He single-handedly brought the entire category down by 7 seconds. He's the person I first watched do infights and is the reason I do infights to this day. His mechanics are out of this world. His world records of 32 seconds and 28 seconds were massive improvements for sure, but the sub 25 second infight was so far ahead of its time, it lasted longer than any other world record infight ever. And that's what I was up against if I wanted to play 1.7 infights and get the world record in it. So at the time of Poso getting the sub 25 second infight, I was still pretty bad at the end fight. My PB was only about 37 seconds, but I was starting to hit my stride. I had about 2,000 hours in the end fight at this point, so I was really started to feel it and sort of flowing and ebbing with the mechanics of the end fight much better. I was really mastering reading angles and arrow baits at this time, so it was really only a matter of time before I got a decent PB. Well, how about that? This is world record. Screw just getting a PB or whatever, this is the run. I know there's not a timer, but that last bid was at 11 seconds. That means I only need an okay last bid to get the record right here and right now. But if I do choke this run, the RNG for this run is insane. It's a 1 in 10 to get that good of an angle and that fast of a first charge, about 1 in 200 for that height of task crystal, and just the dragon flying toward it, and about a 1 in 4 for the next charge, and not to spoil things, but I do get the last charge on this run. And so, this run's RNG was about 1 in 32,000. It would take months for me to get this lucky again if I don't hit it, but I practiced for over 2,000 hours, so I believe this is going to be an easy task. So, yeah, safe to say no world records are happening today. But hey, at least I got a PB of 31 seconds. But of course, I was none too happy with this run, knowing I was so close to getting world record in it if I had not thrown at the last second. So I started grinding for world record since I felt I was so close to it. If only I knew how deep of a rabbit hole this was going to be. So at this point, I was playing for about 8 hours a day because I felt like I was so close to getting the run. But as every day passed, I'd realized that getting better times at the end fight is exponentially more difficult. So maybe that 31 felt easy since I only grinded for a few days for it, but I'd mostly focused on getting better averages and general improvement before I started doing end fights just for speed. And so every second going down from this was going to be a dogfight. Well, so I thought. After only 1 day, I got a new infight PB of 28 seconds. It really just goes to show you how crazy the infight can be sometimes. I wouldn't even call this infight very lucky. In fact, I'd say it's a very high skill infight. It's a 3-bed dragon kill, so it's really only 1 in 64 for the charge RNG, and with the starting angle, maybe this is a 1 in 200 infight for the odds. And so after only 2 days, I lowered my PB by 9 seconds. So, carrying this momentum forward, I pushed on to my final goal of a sub 25 second time, and it'd only take a matter of time before I got the run. This is the most insane infight I have ever done or ever seen. I can't even explain how incalculably rare this run is. Nobody has ever gotten this lucky before, ever in the infight. To this day, it is still the luckiest event of all time in the history of the infight. Nobody has ever gotten a task crystal with this much damage and gotten 2 charges off the rip like that. So, let's make history, boys. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This one hurt. This one hurt me bad. For even years after this happened, I still can't stand watching this video. I literally cannot explain how angry this made me. There was no cope, there was only seething and malding after this. This was a pure skill issue. I just threw away something magical. If Poso got this run, he would have gotten world record. If anybody else got this run, it would have been world record. Or so I thought at the time. Of course, over time, I've come to accept this run as a brutal but necessary truth, that the infight really is a game of pixels. If only the dragon was a few pixels lower or higher, everything changes on that run. After this, I took a few-month break from doing infights to forget about the run and just focus back on playing well and getting good times. I had the ability clearly to get world record, but the way the nerves hit in the run is crazy. It happens all at once. I'd have to control my nerves and play insanely well if I wanted a chance to get a world record, and that wasn't just carried by some 1 in a million event. And so I needed to train even harder to increase my skill level to that on par of Poso and other players. So, after months of training and improving, I took another stab at getting the record. This is when I really started to feel more and more confident. I was on the edge of breaking through, and the practice paid off fast. So, after 9 months, I finally got a new PB. I crawled ever closer to the sub 25. At this point, I had crossed the threshold in my mind to being one of the truly best players. I had 4,000 hours of practice and grinding at this point, and it paid off. But somebody else at this time was grinding for world record, and that person is Teddy Ursa. Like me, Teddy had practiced infights for a very, very long time, and he was the one, not me, to finally break Poso's multi-year record streak. After over 2 long years, Teddy finally broke Poso's world record with a massive improvement of 1.7 seconds. At the time, I was happy for Teddy. I wasn't even upset about him getting a 23.3. It was going to be a lot harder to beat it, but I'd gotten on pace for it several times. Only maybe if I got a sub 25 like a few days later after grinding for years, I might be a little salty, but I kept grinding for this. And after, I worked my way into getting a chance for a PB again. So, after 2 long years, I finally beat Poso. But of course, I was still the second place merchant. 2 weeks before, Teddy got his 23.3, and my time was only a 23.9. But at this time, I was working about 50 to 60 hours a week, so my time to get the world record for the time being seemed to have passed. But I worked a traveling contracting job, so in a few months, I'd be back home and be able to try to get the world record again. But there were several more players at this time playing for world record. I needed to get back fast, or somebody might really push me out of contention. This one really was a wake-up call. I wasn't even second place anymore. Players like Akbash and Max were on my tail. I wasn't even third place anymore because Max beat me soon after. I got home for around a month after this, and I started playing infights again. I got over 100 sub-40s in this time in 1 month, and near the very end, with 2 days until I was going to go back to the field, I did this. "5,000 hours. 1 million attempts over 4 years, all building up to this one moment. Only one bed left. 4 years for this.
Yes! 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 No!
Sometimes people don't get their happy ending. After all that time, I was only able to bring my PB down to 23 seconds. After this, I had to work long hours at work, and other players were grinding for world record. This run broke me. I stopped playing seriously. Maybe I'd play 30 minutes in a week from now on, and new tech was on the way that I was terrible at. A few months passed, and Teddy still had the world record. I'd given up. Sometimes working hard doesn't pay off, but sometimes it does.